What if the ocean stopped absorbing carbon? Curiosity Now, Season 3, Episode 2. The ocean looks calm. Waves rise and fall. Tides move in and out. The surface reflects the sky like it always has. From above, nothing appears wrong. But beneath that surface, the ocean performs one of the most important functions on Earth. One most people never think about. It absorbs carbon, quietly, relentlessly, every single day. And if it ever stopped, the planet would change faster than civilization could respond. The ocean is Earth's largest active carbon sink. It absorbs roughly 1/4 to 1/3 of all carbon dioxide released into the atmosphere each year. Not through machinery, not through intention, through physics, gas exchange, chemical reactions, biological processes. Together, they act as a planetary pressure valve, slowing the pace of climate change. Not stopping it, just buying time. Here's the part most people don't realize. The ocean does not choose to absorb carbon. It does so only while conditions allow it, and those conditions are not guaranteed. At first, nothing dramatic happens. Carbon emissions remain the same. Cities function as usual. The sky looks unchanged. Weather patterns feel familiar. Slightly warmer, slightly more extreme, but still recognizable. No alarm sound. No single moment marks the shift. But behind the scenes, the ocean's chemistry begins to change. As carbon dioxide dissolves into seawater, it forms carbonic acid. This lowers the ocean's pH, a process known as ocean acidification. For decades, the ocean has absorbed more carbon than it ever has in recorded history, and that absorption comes at a cost. The more carbon the ocean absorbs, the harder it becomes to absorb more. Eventually, saturation approaches, the chemical balance shifts, and the ocean's ability to act as a carbon sink weakens. Before we go any further, if you enjoy slow-burn documentaries about invisible planetary systems, take a moment to like this video. It helps Curiosity Now reach more curious minds. And if you want more episodes about the unseen forces holding Earth together, subscribe to Curiosity Now and turn on notifications. Sharing this video helps these stories reach people who love big questions. As absorption slows, carbon remains in the atmosphere longer. Not in dramatic spikes, but in persistent accumulation. Year after year, concentrations rise faster than models predicted. Temperature trends steepen. The curve bends upward. Oceans normally buffer heat as well. They absorb over 90% of excess heat trapped by greenhouse gases, but warmer water holds less gas. As surface temperatures rise, the ocean becomes less capable of pulling carbon from the air. A feedback loop forms. Warmer oceans absorb less carbon. Less absorption leads to more warming. More warming weakens absorption further. At this stage, the change is still subtle, but its effects spread globally. Weather patterns begin drifting out of historical ranges. Not extremes yet, just inconsistencies. Jet streams wobble. Ocean currents shift slightly. Seasonal expectations stop lining up with reality. Farmers notice planting windows becoming unreliable. Coastal regions experience unusual temperature swings. Marine ecosystems feel the impact first. Plankton, microscopic organisms, are responsible for nearly half of Earth's oxygen production and play a major role in carbon cycling. As ocean chemistry changes, plankton populations destabilize. Some species decline. Others bloom uncontrollably. The balance breaks. Coral reefs suffer as acidity increases. Calcium carbonate structures weaken. Reefs bleach more frequently. Entire reef systems collapse, not from a single heat wave, but from chronic stress. With reefs go fisheries. With fisheries go coastal economies. As biological carbon capture declines, another layer of absorption disappears. The ocean loses not just chemical capacity, but biological assistance. Carbon lingers even longer in the atmosphere. By now, global temperatures are rising faster than expected. Not dramatically, consistently. Heat records break quietly, year after year. What once felt rare becomes normal. Polar regions accelerate the shift. Melting ice reduces Earth's reflectivity. Dark water absorbs more heat. Ocean circulation patterns weaken. The deep ocean, once a long-term carbon storage system, becomes less stable. One of the most critical systems affected is the thermohaline circulation, often called the global conveyor belt. It moves warm water north and cold water south, regulating climate across continents. As temperature and salinity gradients weaken, circulation slows. Weather patterns across Europe, North America, and Asia destabilize. Storm behavior changes, not necessarily stronger, but stranger. Storms stall. Rain falls where it shouldn't. Droughts persist longer. Floods become harder to predict. Infrastructure built on historical data begins failing. Insurance markets react first. Risk becomes difficult to price. Coverage shrinks. Entire regions become uninsurable. Investment retreats. Economic strain spreads unevenly, but persistently. Coastal cities face compounding stress. Sea levels rise faster as thermal expansion accelerates. Storm surge patterns shift. Ports flood more frequently. Shipping schedules break down. Global trade absorbs the shock, but only temporarily. As carbon accumulation accelerates, ecosystems inland respond. Forests experience increased stress. Tree mortality rises. Wildfires grow more frequent, not from heat alone, but from weakened ecological resilience. Carbon once stored in biomass returns to the atmosphere. Another feedback loop locks in. Attempts at mitigation intensify. Carbon capture projects expand. Geoengineering discussions move from theory to planning. But scale becomes the enemy. Removing carbon is harder than releasing it. Always has been. Meanwhile, ocean chemistry continues drifting. Some regions become net carbon sources rather than sinks. The ocean begins releasing carbon back into the atmosphere during certain conditions. The pressure valve reverses. At this point, Earth enters a new climate regime. Not apocalypse, not extinction, but instability. A planet less forgiving of mistakes. Food systems strain under unpredictability. Not total collapse, but constant disruption. Crop yields fluctuate. Marine protein availability declines. Global supply chains stretch thin. Resilience becomes more important than efficiency. Political systems struggle to keep pace. Long-term planning fails under short-term crises. Adaptation becomes reactive. Coordination weakens. Global agreements fray under uneven impacts. Over decades, the world becomes warmer than anticipated. Not because emissions spiked, but because Earth lost one of its most important buffers. And the most unsettling truth? This process is already underway. The ocean's absorption efficiency has begun to decline. Not everywhere, not uniformly, but measurably. The ocean was never meant to solve carbon pollution. It was meant to regulate a balanced system. When overwhelmed, it does not fail dramatically. It simply stops helping. If the ocean stopped absorbing carbon entirely, climate change would accelerate beyond any realistic mitigation timeline. Adaptation would dominate survival strategies. Stability would become rare. Civilization would not end. But the version of Earth that allowed it to flourish would be gone. If this episode changed how you see the ocean, consider sharing this video with someone who thinks climate change is only about the air. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Curiosity Now. Because the most important systems on Earth often operate far below the surface. The ocean doesn't scream when it fails. It just stops absorbing what it once carried for us. And the planet feels it, everywhere.